Hi, Ellie.
Hi, Georgiana. How are you?
I'm great. How are you doing today?
Good, thank you. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to Better Now, Living Mindfully. This is a conversation between two friends that explores a mindful approach to life. I am Ellie,
And I'm Georgiana.
and we will be your hosts today. And today we're exploring the topic of celebrations. So, Georgiana, you had a very special celebration before COVID, right? Before COVID, right?
Well, no, it was right after COVID hit. We had planned our wedding for March 21st. We had a lovely wedding planned in a beautiful spot with many guests and great food and flowers and a DJ and music. We had been planning it for months, and then COVID hit, and there were no more gatherings, and we were in lockdown in LA. So we had to make some quick decisions about what we were going to do. The discouragement turned into, okay, we're going to go for this as a Facebook wedding. We'll invite some family and friends. And the date was set. It was the first day of spring. We didn't want to lose our date. We wanted our wedding date to be the first day of spring because it is a whole new birth for us of our new lives together. So we kept the date. We got a friend of Stephen's who's a minister and her husband who happens to be a photographer. They came. We stood 6 to 10 feet apart, and we had a Facebook wedding that was just really lovely. And so began celebrating the moments of our lives during this COVID time.
Mm-hmm. And I recall that that wedding was actually just doing it on Facebook Live was actually the first time that you did something like that, trying to figure out the technology and walking in ambiguity in an area that was highly, highly significant to you.
Yes, we didn't know how to do it. We enlisted my brother, who's a website designer. He didn't know how to do a Facebook wedding, but we would have these tryouts to see if it was going to even work to do Facebook Live. So we had tryouts every day for 3 or 4 days, and it worked, but we really took a chance with that. I think we were one of the first people, if not the first couple, to get married on Facebook, and we were happy with the result. It ended up being so intimate just to have us together. Talk about living mindfully. We got to experience those precious moments of just the two of us looking at each other and walking together. And our guests came dressed in their wedding clothes. They had toasts with us in the chat room.
Yes, I was one of those guests, and I
Yes.
definitely wanted to feel part of it. So I had our entire family dress up, our kids dressed up in their little tuxes, and Gabby and I we even had our heels on, Georgiana.
Oh,
We
wow.
had our dress that we bought especially for the wedding and our heels. And a couple of things happened because of this. And one of the things was that Gabriella actually wrote a song for you on the guitar, right? She
Mm-hmm.
composed something, and so did the other girls. So tell us a little bit about the creativity that surrounded this moment.
Well, there was a lot of creativity surrounding this moment, from really some cosmic creativity of birds singing that could be easily heard by everybody who was in attendance, and butterflies flying around us. I wore my wedding gown, which I wasn't going to wear my wedding gown, but I talked to my sister-in-law and to you that morning, and you
Mm-hmm.
both said, no, this is your day. You have to get dressed up. So I did. Were the moments like the song that Gabriella did. She practiced a beautiful song, a Jason Mraz song, and she sang it in the most beautiful, innocent voice we celebrated that song by listening to it over and over again. And I made a little 3-minute video with her backing that song. And then the three girls, 8, 10, and 6, who were going to be my flower girls at the wedding. They had beautiful outfits. They put on their beautiful outfits. They watched the wedding, and then they sang to us a beautiful song that they had prepared that was going to be a surprise at the wedding. So there they are in their outfits, singing their song on Facebook. And I also made a video of them singing their song and put that up on Facebook and made the little video. So all this creativity burst around this wedding, and nobody knew that everybody was going to get dressed up and toast to us, but everybody did.
Mm-hmm. So I'm hearing a couple of things. I'm hearing divine synchronicity, right?
Yeah.
Because divine synchronicity, and I'm also hearing a complete commitment to that moment, no matter what. So
Yes.
just because there is a world pandemic, you were waiting for this moment for a very, very long time. It was your dream. And just being fully committed in every single way, dressing up, making it real, and us being in communion with you and Steve during this time, just completely with each other. That great sense of intimacy that arose from just looking at both of you in your beautiful space. I kid you not, everyone. It was like Cinderella. It was like, remember in Cinderella when the little mice and the little birds start singing? That's what it was like.
Yeah. Yeah, it was. It's really living mindfully, and the need that was in March. Now we're in August, almost September, and there is still a need to reinvent connection and to celebrate our precious moments of our lives that are continuing on. If we don't celebrate them, I don't know about you or people in the audience, but I'm getting lost in, is it Tuesday? Is it still August? How many months has gone by? So what we have started doing is we're celebrating the littlest victories. Stephen had a physical recently and he came back all healthy. So we toasted that at night and we had a wonderful toast to Stephen's good health. We celebrate little victories. We rode by your family. You all had masks on. We celebrated seeing you in a drive-by because it was so wonderful to see you because we haven't seen each other for months. Months.
And that drive-by reminds me that a lot of our graduates have done this fall, or actually in the spring when they graduated, and seeing how one of my friends in particular, people in her neighborhood to have, like, she would stop at the drive-by at different houses, and different people in her neighborhood would have something very special for her daughter, like a speech or a performance or a dance. And just how the balance of that celebration really helps us kind of cope and move forward with COVID, right?
It also helps us to drop into what we really value. What we really value is relationships. That's really what I value, is the love that I have with the people that I love. Those relationships. I've done more Zoom talks with my family back east, and the drive-bys and talking on the phone. Relationships are what is uplifting us and getting me through the separation that COVID has brought to our families and our community.
And I'm also thinking about the great level of significance and of symbolism in this time, right?
Yes,
In
yes.
terms of how did you make how did you continue making your wedding symbolic? Like, what were that you did to kind of share in a symbolic way? You talked about the first day of spring and how symbolic it was for your union. So how can we bring symbolism into these celebrations so that they have an extended, like, eternal significance to what we're doing.
Yes, and that's where creativity comes to mind again. I do little photo books from Walgreens, and all the drugstores do them, but Walgreens, you can get these 50% off. So for $10, I can get a photo book sent to my family back east or anywhere in the United States that shows what we're celebrating these days. The other thing that Stephen and I decided to do, because we got married on the first day of spring, and because we would like to have 40 celebrations, but we don't have 40 years to celebrate, would be well over 100 years old. So we decided we're going to celebrate every season. So we got dressed up, we had a wonderful dinner, and on the first day of summer, which was in June, it was our first anniversary. It was our first season together, and we celebrated the season. We toasted, and we celebrated being together for one season, which we called one season. So we're going to celebrate every season. The next one coming up is the vernal equinox in September, when we have the first day of autumn. So it takes a little bit of asking the universe, what can I celebrate today? What's happening today that I might be able to celebrate? Or what's happening this week so that I can really plan a celebration
Mm-hmm.
with my family?
When you mentioned creativity and thinking outside the box, I was taken to the moment where my husband surprised me for our 25th anniversary. He said, we were going somewhere very special. It was during COVID. And I'm like, where? He's like, just letting you know. So I was like, okay, I'm going to go get dressed up, put my heels on, and let's see what he's got up his sleeve. And sure enough, he had created an opera box on our deck. He took our bedroom sheets and hung them on the deck wall, and projected an opera, my favorite one, by Carmen by Bizet. And he ordered us dinner, and we had wine, and it was like being in the box seats at the opera. It was my favorite opera of all time. We were outside, we could see the stars, and he lit some candles, and it was just so romantic and so brilliant. Something as simple as hanging white sheets and creating your own theater, especially now that we can't go to the theater, just kind of like making it happen, just thinking outside the box and making it happen.
Well, it's such a beautiful story, and I had heard the story when you told me, and I thought, wow, this is just a beautiful 25th anniversary that you are never going to forget. Your favorite opera. You also have beautiful food. You had nice wine, and just the two of you dressed up. It's so romantic. And I invite the audience to just drop into what you might be able to do with your husband or your spouse or your partner, or if you're alone, how you could celebrate a special time of the day, or taking a bath with candles and wonderful some sage burning or essential oils, and just celebrating, getting dressed up on your own, and just having a nice glass of wine or a glass of water, some bubbly water. I always get Perrier so that I feel like I'm celebrating. But those moments show us that our lives are so valuable together, and also in ourselves. Our life is valuable. The time is going by. We want to have it in our heart that these moments are precious to us.
Mm-hmm. That really takes me into a deep sense of presence,
Mm.
you know, and just the value of the presence itself, you know, that you're just celebrating just being alive.
Mm-hmm. The simple pleasures, the simple
Mm-hmm.
pleasures of life. We got a Amazon package of this little book that gets put on it's a refrigerator magnet, and it's a little book that gets that you put down your grocery list. We're celebrating that because we got rid of the grocery lists that were always being lost, and I mean they were everywhere. And then we didn't know what we're supposed to order from the grocery store or get at the grocery store. So we're gonna say we spent $12. It was like, okay, for $12, we really got our money's worth here. We got our list and our pencil, and we got everything right here. So you just find the things that you can celebrate. If you have a pet, you can celebrate that pet with a special meal. You know, chicken. Pets love chicken. Cook them a little
Yeah.
chicken. Get the cheap chicken. They love it.
Mm-hmm. Or what I like to do with Troy,
Mm-hmm.
it's our dog.
Mm-hmm.
He's a little terrier, and I like to give him a long bath.
Mm-hmm.
So I give him a bath, and I give him a special massage, and then I
Oh.
blow dry his little fur, and we put a little bow on him. And you know, it's not like going to a fancy place where they get him all dolled up, but for him, it's very special, and it's our time together.
Mm-hmm.
You know, even if it's a dog, it doesn't matter. It's your time together because I think that at that moment, love is in the air.
Yes.
Love is in celebration, and love is in symbolism and in creativity, and all those feelings I feel like just bring us to higher levels of consciousness. I know I'm always talking about that, but I just feel like it's so true to be
Mm-hmm.
in that space,
Oh,
you know, loving in sacred
I
space.
love that. I love little Troy
Mm-hmm.
getting groomed so lovingly. That's totally living mindfully. I also think, I mean, I do this in the morning and I do it in the evening. In the morning, the first thing I do is do my gratitude list of what do I have to be grateful this morning? And I don't do the same ones every day. I don't allow that. I do specific ones every day. And then at night, I recognize what I have to celebrate from that day. And it
Mm.
puts me to sleep once I start doing them in my head. Oh, I
Mm.
have that to celebrate and that. And we had a nice dinner together. And, you know, whatever it is that I had to talking to you today will be part of my celebration that I review in my mind while I'm drifting off into sleep. And, you know, Oprah has a line, and I always remember it goes something like, the more you praise and celebrate life, the more there is in life to celebrate. I love that
Mm.
line.
Mm-hmm. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Well, I think it's a good time for us to recap some of the things. I have a couple of things that I want to take away with me.
Mm-hmm.
And the first one is celebrations are about relationship. You know, it's about committing to each other and just being really in the present moment and grateful for what we have in each other or in ourselves and celebrating that. And you also talked about creativity
Yes.
and how the creativity emerges from the celebration, and thinking outside the box also kind of revolves around, you know, how is it that we're going to accomplish it given the limitations of our current pandemic,
Mm-hmm.
and just that, you know, dropping into what we really value,
Yes.
right? And
Yes.
connecting with our values, and that no one's going to stop us from, or nothing will stop us from connecting with our values.
Yes. And the other thing you mentioned, and we might do a podcast next time about this, because divine synchronicity you mentioned, and really it's everywhere if you stop in the moment of your life and recognize it. The divine synchronicity of so much that happens in our lives.
Mm-hmm. And then lastly, the symbolism
Mm.
behind what you value, and how in the celebration, the symbols create a heightened sense of an eternal awareness of this celebration that you're currently are sharing with the loved ones, your loved ones in your life.
Yes. Hallelujah. Amen. I love it. I love it. I love talking to you. And I want to thank everyone in our audience for joining us today. We really appreciate you listening to our Living Mindfully Better Now podcast, available on Spotify, Anchor, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and other streaming platforms. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe, rate, and review our podcast, and please join us next time. I feel better. I feel better now. Hope you do too.
Thank you, Georgiana. Thank you, everyone. And we hope to see you soon.
Bye
Bye.
bye.